Hello, hello, hello. Howdy, howdy. Let me close this down. Happy Monday night, everybody. I'm feeling as though something might not be working. Let me just close this down. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for joining. If you're live, if you are watching the replay, thank you for stopping by. Let me just make sure that everything is joining. Happy Monday, everybody. Yeah, okay. I was just checking. I could not hear the music, so I was wondering if something was going wrong, but it appears all's well. Let me just check these sounds here. Yeah, it looks to be okay. If anybody cannot hear me and you're in live, I'd appreciate it if you left a comment saying that you can't see or hear me. Otherwise, thank you for joining me tonight and this Monday and every Monday, where I try to be here every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I am in Florida. And if you are live, and let me know where you're watching from, or even if you're in the replay, let me know where you're checking out from. I'd love to know where people are coming from, and yeah, get to know you more. Let me get a few things together. I'm not entirely sure how tonight is going to go, to be honest with you. I was not sure I was going to make it tonight due to a project I'm working on, but I was freed up a window, and so I thought I'd hop on, and I'm going to kind of wing it in terms of what to cover tonight. I don't have like an official tutorial or something that I was going to go, but I thought maybe I would go into Screenflow and sort of go through my workflow for uploading a video. I need to get a video out tomorrow, and I would just sort of, it's going to be kind of like a study with me type night, I think, where I'm just going to go through and do some of the things that I do to get a video ready. The video has been edited, and I'll just take you through a little bit of, some of the process that I do for getting that set up, and then I will take it from there. Hello, Sweden. Nice to see you there. Let me open up this. So I'm having a little bit of a lag, so I apologize. I'm trying to add something in the comment, but it's not seeming to go. And yeah, so thank you for joining. Hello, hello. Looks kind of quiet tonight, but that's okay. Yeah, so tonight I thought that I would just sort of go through a little bit of a workflow, or just, as I need to get stuff done. I thought I would just kind of do it and just share a few of the things. Maybe if I find some tips in Screenflow that I think will be helpful, I'll point those out as I'm going. And I think tonight will not be a super long night, and just because of the day that I've had, or just it's been sort of a packed day, and I have to do the same thing early tomorrow. So yeah, just sort of spitballing. So if there's questions, though, if you do have questions or something that you're stuck on, something that you're working on, that's the whole point of these live streams, is for me to be available to you, to help you with something that you're stuck with, something that you have a question on, something that you're not sure about. Maybe you watched a tutorial and you are just unclear about a step, or something that is, that you just can't seem to figure out, whether it's in Screenflow, After Effects, Photoshop, whatever. My topics that I deal with and that I work on, the programs are pretty widespread. So that's the purpose of tonight, is for me to be available to you and to answer any questions And, I like on this night to try to like work through something live so you can sort of get some extra value. But I'm also really the main goal, or the main thing, is to be available for anybody who has questions, or just to connect. If there's something cool that you're working on and you want to share, something you're excited about, something you're building, by all means, I'd love to hear about it. So, and I usually start these, so I apologize if you're like, oh my God, not again. But I thought I would, let me. That should be working. I don't know why it showed me as muted. Um, wow, it should be working now. I don't know how that possibly happened. I possibly hit a shortcut that I wasn't aware that I hit, so I apologize for that. For the last 5 minutes I've been talking, you haven't heard me, but my bad. So so the resource page is basically all the tools, the products, the things that I use. If you're looking for stuff, or if you're just curious what I use, or if you're, even if you are looking at something, you want to ask me, hey, do you like this? Or I typically only share things and put things on my resource page that I like. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was on mute, and my bad. But yeah, so on my resource page, there's these links to the Amazon page, or to my Amazon shop, which is basically just, you can go check out things, view them on Amazon. I have this book page, or this book shop here, with some of my favorite books. But all this stuff, or for the majority of it, is on this resources page. you'll find things that I use for podcasting, for WordPress, stuff that I use to make tutorials, for live streaming, music, all the tools, the business stuff. As I think of something, or as I start using something that I really like, I put it on here. Again, I don't just put things on here unless I actually use them or find them helpful. But these are all tools that I generally use in my business and for creating content. And then I have the gear that I use. This is podcasting and audio gear. Photo, video, lighting. There are more stuff in the list than there are pictures, and this is the tech and accessories. These are things that I use in my studio, and the cables that I use for, the cameras, for the lights, for the audio. And then I have a list of, these are my go-to books, or these are books that have sort of meant something, or that I find useful, helpful, inspirational. I read a lot of self-development, self-help, kind of woo-woo type businessy books, things that make you feel good, or always trying to self-improve. I mean, that's sort of my lifelong mission, is always trying to get better, trying to learn more, trying to stay fit, trying to be happy. So I tend to read a lot of books that have some sort of, I get something out of them when I read them. I love fiction, but I tend to read a lot of nonfiction. And I actually listen to a lot of books. I used to read a ton, and then my eyes just started playing tricks on me, and I find it hard to sometimes stare at the book, so I end up listening to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts. So yeah, hopefully you find that helpful. And again, apologize for the no sound. It's embarrassing, and I'm starting to put all of my tutorials on my website as I start to make them. I don't know why I didn't do this from the very beginning. Well, I know why I didn't from the very beginning, and then time went on, and I just said, I don't need them on my website. I've got my YouTube channel, but I'm starting to bring them back, and I'm going to backfill these. I'll backfill all of 2022. I'm going to try to do 2021, and just try to get the stuff to make it live on my website. If you are a content creator, or if you're aspiring to be a content creator, there's a real common, I don't know if it's a mantra or just a common knowledge or best practice maybe, but if you are building your content and all of your content is somewhere else, like you're on YouTube, or if you're basically just putting everything somewhere else towards, you don't really own the platform, you don't really have a lot of control over your stuff. If that platform ever went down, if YouTube went down, it'd be catastrophic for a lot of people, right? Including myself. But sort of keeping that in mind as a long-term thing, like, do you have your content archived or backed up to where if something did go down, you could either restore it or you could move it somewhere else, or so putting stuff on your own website is definitely a great plan. I have my podcast episodes. I'm trying to backfill most of my tutorials. And it's also important because people come and check you out, and they want to see your portfolio, basically, as your website. I feel like I was only focused on my podcast for a while on my website, and I was writing on Medium, I was doing my YouTube channel, but now I kind of want to bring everything back into my website. So that's a project I've been working on, and it'll take a while, but yeah. Questions or anything that you want me to cover or talk about, by all means, let me know. I don't know why I just shared that. That's this. I'm working on a little template here for a desktop. It's for a Screenflow class that I'm trying to finish. Seems to be taking forever. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I might have inadvertently hit the keyboard shortcut for mute in Ecamm which I didn't know what it was, but I may have done that, or I accidentally clicked it. I'm not sure, but anyways, no stress about that. Where is Screenflow? I thought that I would jump into Screenflow. Let me see this. Screen show share. No, that was not it. Let me see what this is. That's not it. Where is my Screenflow? Let me just give me a second. It's not loading up for some reason. There it is. So this is Screenflow, which is, I think, what a lot of people actually know me for. Multiple strokes. So yeah, so I was going to do Screenflow. I was going to do After Effects. I wasn't sure. But I think Screenflow is going to, because I need to work on this, I thought I would just, you know, that would be helpful, both for me and for you. Or for the Screenflow users or the people. I know a lot of people seem to want me to do Screenflow. So this is, let me go full screen on this so I can, yeah, so this is a long video for me. It's 3 minutes, so this is typical video. So whenever I'll try to point out little tips or little things that I do, but basically this is me. I have a video I'm going to upload tomorrow. You're getting a sneak peek of what it is. Multiple strokes in Adobe After Effects. And I am going to, basically, I need to export this or render this out for tomorrow. And I will just share with you like the things that I need to do. Typically, I put a thumbnail at the beginning, so when the video starts, there's a thumbnail to start it. And to add thumbnails in Screenflow or to add videos to the timeline, you can just drag things on. But a little secret button or a little secret feature that a lot of people don't use, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. There's a little button down here. There's a little arrow with a plus symbol. And that opens up all of your media. And your media is over here in this last tab in the top right. So these are all your clips, all the clips that you record, any assets, videos, images that you drag in. They're all stored in this media bin. And you see here, I have this thumbnail down in the bottom. It's kind of, let me see what I can do to go over there for a second. So if I look down, I don't know why it's showing you my big screen. Let me get out of that. So if you look down here, I have my, I think it's blocking you. At the bottom of my media bin, I have this thumbnail down here. So I just dragged it into Screenflow. And when I want to add something to the timeline, obviously you can drag it in, which is a pretty common way to do it. But a little shortcut or a little way that I often do it. So let me come down to my timeline so you can see the little button clear. I don't know why it's having me so trouble. But if you look down the very bottom left here, there's this little button here. So if I click on that, this is going to show me all of my media in the media bin. It's going off screen, so you're not seeing it. But if you look at the very bottom here, I've got this thumbnail. And if I click on that, it just adds it to the timeline. Okay, so rather than dragging it in and put it into place, you can just, move your playhead to wherever you want. Click on the little plus symbol. And if you want to insert something from the media bin, you just locate it. So rather than going over to the media bin, looking for it, maybe having trouble finding it, you can just come here, click, and then that will just add it right next to the playhead. It puts it on any layer it wants, which is kind of a pain, but that is Just an easy way that I tend to do it. And a little bonus, or not a bonus tip, just a little thing. So this clip right here, if you look over here in the little time code here, so right here, you see here, I have that clip highlighted. So if I come back here, it's highlighted. Oh, I unhighlighted it. I'm trying to make sure that you see everything really clearly, so I apologize for me jumping back and forth. You see here, I have this clip highlighted, and if I come over here and point to the time code, it's 4 minutes long. So when I add a video clip or if I add like a still image basically onto my timeline, or a graphic, an asset, something that's not a recording, it's always going to be 4 seconds. So that is the amount that I selected because I like it to be 4 seconds. It's just something that I came up with. I think the default is 5. So, and the reason that I let me just come up here to the full menu. So if you go up to the top menu and go to Preferences, so if I click up on Preferences, I'll bring this out so you can see it. If I go to Timeline, you'll see here, let me just pull it up to make sure you can see it. So down here, Default Durations, you see here, I have these abilities. So still images, that's my thumbnail. You see here, 4 seconds. If I wanted to change that, I could just click in there and I can change it to, let's say, 5 seconds. And now if I were to drag that same thumbnail onto the timeline, it would automatically like take up a 5-second space. So again, I like it at 4, so I just click on that. So you can set the custom durations to various things. You see your annotations. So if I use a lot of shapes, which I do, they're annotations. If every time I add a shape, it's at 5 seconds, but I always resize it, or I always want it 10 seconds, or I always want it 2 seconds, and every time I add one, I have to click and resize it. Well, save yourself some time and just set the defaults for the things that you use over and over again. I use freeze frames all the time, and they're typically 2 seconds long. Well, I could make those longer, 4 seconds, so every time I make a freeze frame, it's just going to take up a longer space on the timeline. I'm going to change that. I'm actually going to say 3 seconds. Actions, all these things are just really helpful to do. So now when I come down here to my timeline, it will be when I drag a thumbnail or any video or any still image, it's just going to be a 4-second duration. Okay. Now, another little tip. I added this thumbnail right here onto my canvas. Let me make sure you can see that. Yeah. So I added this thumbnail, and you can see it's not taking up my canvas. It's too small. I work on a 5K timeline, so this thumbnail is only 1920 by 1080. So I could drag it out like that, and I know it's the same aspect ratio, so it's going to work. But, oh, I just got an error. I don't know why. Instead of me dragging it out, which, doesn't take that long, but a faster way to do it, I can right-click or control-click and just choose Scale to Fit. Hopefully you can see that. Let me see. Let me make sure you can see that. So then I want to make sure you can see it. See the whole thing. So instead of just dragging it out to make it fit, I'm going to right click and choose Scale to Fit. And when I do that, it's going to fill up the canvas perfectly. And because it's the right aspect ratio, like I know 1920 by 1080 is the same as the 52. 80 is my 5K screen. But that is going to fill up the screen. So just a little time saver. Screenflow tip. One thing that I do, let me just see. A little insider tip, or just something that I do and I think is a good thing. Let hopefully I get an error too, so maybe I can bring out a thing. Whenever I start my tutorials, the screen recordings, which record the cursor, I always go up here into the screen recording properties. I click on the little cube because I have a style preset. Okay, so this is great. I got this error message. And this error message is telling me that I'm trying to apply an effect on something that it's not accepted. A lot of people get this error in Screenflow and get totally confused and mad and think Screenflow is going to explode because they get this runtime error. And all that's doing is I selected a clip on the timeline where adding this action or this property, it doesn't accept it. It's not supported. So that's all it's telling me, is that I picked something that is not supported. And if you read the message, you would never understand that. It's hard to decipher what it actually means, but that's what it means. I selected something that I can't apply it to. So if I was to, let's just say I selected these, I went back and applied it. It's not allowing me to because those must be the clips that I selected. So let me select these and see if I can. Yep. So now if I come here and select it, no error because what I was selecting up here was not supported. And basically what I'm doing, what I did with that, let me try these. I'm not really looking, I'm just doing it kind of quickly. But what I'm doing is basically, you see the cursor? I'm just increasing the cursor size, which I find if I'm watching tutorials, knowing where the cursor is, you know, sometimes it's super small. So just making the cursor big, I feel like is the best practice. So when I'm teaching, if I'm using the cursor to, you know, point something out, it's very easy to spot the cursor. It doesn't get lost. That's it. And again, I'm just trying to think of things that I do all the time that, you know, would be helpful. Well, that was something I do all the time. Oops. Let's say that you select something, shift, drag out a selection. That blue is a selection. Sometimes when you click off, you're like, I just want to get rid of that blue and I cannot get rid of that blue. Well, if you press the Option key and just tap on the letter Z, that gets rid of that highlight. So, so shift click to make a selection, and to get rid of it, if it's driving you crazy, Option Z gets rid of it. Another thing that I do all the time is, let's say that I did not want to see my face right there. That's a great looking face though, with my eyes closed, my lips, whatever. But let's say that I did not want to see my face at this particular time. Well, I could select the clip on the timeline and come up to the inspector panel. I could turn down the opacity, right? We know that. Now it's gone. That would be the typical way to do it. Let's say that I just wanted to get rid, I just did not want this clip in there at all. This is a bad example because it also has the audio attached. But if you want to disable a clip, basically, if you want to disable a clip so you can't see it or it's just not working, maybe you have multiple clips stacked and you want to just solo one, for example. If you tap on the letter V, that will just basically disable the clip. And if you look on the timeline, it just turns it gray, meaning that clip it's still there. It works. You just tap V again and bring it back. So I sometimes do that if I'm like, you know, have a bunch of clips on top of each other and I'm not sure what's what. Like maybe I'm just confused or disoriented about what clip's what. You know, here's this arrow. If I'm like, you know, is this the arrow one? Because there's one above it. Which one is this? If I tap on the letter V and it goes away, then I know that I got the right layer. So just something that I do. But the problem when you tap V on this layer, the audio is there as well. So if you really did not want that, probably the faster way would just be going to the inspector panel and turn down the opacity if you wanted to keep the audio. Alrighty. If you, I did this last week, but one thing that I do, let's say you want to make a clip for Instagram or TikTok or something, and you were to make a little, let's just say that you had a 15-second clip that you wanted to use at the beginning. Let's say, it doesn't matter where, but let's say you had a little 15-second clip that you wanted to, or you wanted to chop up a video on your timeline into 10 15-second clips or whatever. If you don't want to export the entire video in Screenflow, but you just want to export a little section, select it first. So just hold the shift key and just make a selection. If I zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. Let me bring this up so you can see. At the very bottom, it's going to show you that you see here that duration is 21. So right here, that duration is 21 seconds. So if I move this, you're going to see here, let's just say that I know that I wanted this clip to be exactly 15 seconds long because that was the maximum I could make for this clip. You can really control it down here. Again, that's the time that you have selected. So the selection is, oops, sorry. I'm trying to move Screenflow, or I'm trying to move Ecamm. So that is this selection that I have right here. This is exactly 15 seconds. I know that by looking down here on the bottom that this clip right here is 15 seconds. Okay? So if that's what I wanted to basically, if that was what I wanted to export, sorry, I'm trying to do more than I should be doing at the same time here. So let me come up here and go to the top menu. So if I just wanted to export that as one clip, I'm going to come up to the top menu. That's a terrible place to be at because there's a menu being shown. So I'll come to the very top, go to File. Now you see here, when you have a clip selected on your timeline, you have this option here for Export Selected Range. If I was to deselect the timeline, so I'm going to deselect by hitting Option Z. Now when I go up to the top menu, File, you'll see now I only have the option to export. I don't have the export to selected range will only show up if you have a clip selected. So I'm going to go back down here. You can't see me, so I'll go back here, hold the shift key and make a selection. I'm going to kill this clip by the time I get there. This, for whatever reason, Ecamm is just giving me a time tonight. It's not Ecamm's fault, it's my fault, but let me just zoom back out here. So now that I have the clip selected, I can come up to the top menu, go to File. I have the option now for Export Selected Range because I have a clip selected. I click Export. Now I'll follow through the export, but I'm only going to do this little snippet. So if you have a giant timeline with a bunch of stuff, you can still cut it up into smaller videos that you can use for social media by just selecting the portion that you want to use. Export that portion as a clip, however long you want. Could be a minute, 15 seconds, it doesn't matter. But you don't have to export your entire clip on Screenflow. You can export a selected range, which is really helpful. Sometimes you're just working on a video and you want to see, how does this look? So rather than waiting to export the entire video, just make a portion of it, export it out. Or again, if you just want to share something on YouTube or Instagram stories or something, you're working on a video and you want to share it, just select a little clip, get the portion you want. You can play it, so I could play that little portion. The font that I'm using, if I like it, or if this is the one I want to share on Instagram stories real quick, I'll come to the top menu, File, Export Selected Range, export it to wherever I want, and then airdrop it to my phone or something, okay? What other tips? So this has turned into just a general tip night of Screenflow. Alrighty. at the end, well, let's see here. I have to be really careful because I'm just messing with this project, and I actually want this project to, I actually still need to export this project, but I'll figure it out. What else can I I'm trying to find things that I think will be helpful. This is a pretty simple timeline for me. I don't know what yours looks like, but this is a pretty average screen, or I'd say this is a light timeline for me, quite honestly. There's not that many clips, and that many tracks. But yeah, this is a fairly standard clip, or timeline for me. I start with a thumbnail, always at the end of my thumbnail. Let's see here. I will go to the timeline zoom. At the beginning of clips, I always end with a transition. I don't start with a transition. And to add a transition in Screenflow, right click, and I go right here, add. You can choose starting, transition, ending. In the middle, I always choose this, or if I'm putting something right in the middle as like B-roll, I'll always do add starting and ending. But in the beginning, I always just use adding the ending, and that will, if you zoom in on your clip, you will be able to see. Here's another tip. If you have trouble, this is just an image layer, so I should be able to pull this out as long as I want. If I go to this end, you see I can do it. But for whatever reason, when you add a transition and it's kind of a small clip, it doesn't always allow you to do it. So just right click, choose remove ending. Now you'll be able to reuse it, or resize it, so you can make it any size you want. If I want to re-add the transition, add ending transition, you'll see here if I click on this, I can move that transition if I want to change the size of it. It's also easier to move the clip when you have the transition, but for whatever reason, if you add a transition and it's really small, sometimes you have trouble moving it. Just remove the transition, and then you'll be able to re-add it. So it's probably just a little buggy thing, but let me see how long that clip is. So that clip is, I want the clip 4 seconds. So I'm at 4 seconds. When your timeline is on a clip, if you click on T, that will split the clip. Hit enter or delete. That deleted it. I'm going to right click and choose add ending transition, and now we're good to go. I end with my logo. And on my logo, you can't see that, so I'm going to try to zoom out. I apologize. Now you can't see anything, but I'll fix that. So I end with my logo. That's down here on the end. And in my logo layer, I do add a beginning and ending transition. So I right click on it and choose add starting and ending, and I usually keep that at 4 seconds. Oop. Just zooming in. I think I just screwed it up. So I'm going to remove. So I right click and choose add starting and ending. You should see the transitions. And that's a pretty small clip. I think The reason it's short is because I ran out of time. You can also click on this menu and remove transitions and re-add them. All right. I'm going to tap the plus and minus keys to zoom in and out. And there's a really, unable to split clip. I'm going to show you another cool little tip. If you press the control key, so that's the far left on a Mac keyboard, and tap on the letter T, so T for timeline, that will zoom everything into view, which is a very helpful shortcut. So I was zoomed way in or zoomed way out like that. Okay, so if you ever find yourself kind of turned around and you just want to see everything on your timeline, press the control key, tap on the letter T, and that will just magically make everything in view, get you up to full speed. I find that helpful. And then, what else? I had one other thing that I was going to add. I guess I could do this. Okay. I'm going to move myself here because we're going to go, let's see here. I'll move myself out of here a little bit. I'll touch on one last thing without getting too in the weeds on it because it could backfire and be like kind of confusing, but we'll see. Let's be daring. So, if we look down here on the end of my timeline, I have this clip of me talking, so that's me right here talking. And underneath right here, I have an audio track. This is music. So I have me speaking, and there's music. And the music would be loud, but listen how it goes. So right when it gets here, the music's going to start playing. So here we go. I'm not hearing it. Hold on. I'm not hearing anything. Did I mute it? Let me see. Why is no audio coming? Let me make sure. Okay. For whatever reason, I'm not hearing it, but I am now. So listen to my voice, then listen to the music. The music is nice and quiet. And when my voice ends, the music gets louder, and that is ducking. So here we go. You can hear the music. So that is called ducking when you have audio. So the dialogue, when I'm speaking, I don't want the music bed. The music bed is the sound or the song that is underneath the dialogue. So they call that a music bed because it's underneath the dialogue. So while I'm speaking, I want the music bed to duck or to go lower so it's not interrupting or interfering with people being able to hear me speak. So sometimes you have to be very careful with ducking because I've heard a lot of people who use ducking, and I think sometimes some of the programs do automatic ducking, and it can be really distracting. Every time they stop for a long breath, then the music gets loud, and then when they start talking, the music cuts out. So you have to be very careful not to either pause too long in between speaking, or you have to really monitor to make sure that the ducking is going to work for you. But in Screenflow, it's super easy to use the ducking. All you have to do is basically select the audio. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get everything. I'll zoom out so you can see the timeline. But this track down here, this track right here that I have selected is the video track of me. So it's, hopefully this will get super distracting because this is me and that's me right here. But this is me on the video. So this track right here, this clip has me and the webcam, and then I'm speaking. The audio is on this track as well. And I have music underneath here. So this track that I have selected below is a song. Okay, so if I'll just mute this. This is the song. So I have myself muted, and listen how loud the music gets. So it's like full speed right now. Okay, so notice how loud the music is. I have my track muted. If I unmute it, watch what happens. So it's muted, unmuted. So the music, as soon as I unmuted it, because it has ducking applied, the song went quiet. Had I not unmuted and just played the music would play at full volume, the entire clip, because the ducking layer is disabled. So hopefully that makes sense of how it's working, ducking. And to apply it, if you look up at the top here, maybe we can do both, hopefully. Or hopefully you can see both. So what you do is select your dialogue. This is the track where you are speaking. So I have mine selected. And I go up to the audio tab. The audio tab is the second tab. By the way, another tip, you can go to all of these tabs by using the command key and just tapping on a number key. So command 1 will bring you to video, 2 is audio, 3 is the video motion. If you go to 4, I have the command key pressed. That's screen recording. My thing's right there, so it's blocking it. 5 is call out. 6 is the touch call out. 7 is annotations. Command 8 is the text and titles. And command 9 will bring you into the media bin. So I'm at command 1. That's the first video tab. And command 2 is audio. So keyboard shortcuts will bring you into the inspector panel. So all you have to do is select the dialogue layer, or the clip that you want to apply ducking. Then you just come here and you check this button, ducking. The default is 10%, I believe, and that's typically works pretty well. But if you want to control, maybe you want the sound or the music to be a little bit louder, you can control that. Or if you want it a little bit quieter, you can also do that. But with ducking applied, whenever I'm speaking, whatever is underneath it is going to basically, go quieter. So you still hear the music. It's only at 10%, but it's you can hear it. And then when you stop, so it's the idea is that when you stop talking, there's a nice smooth transition to where the music gets louder. And that's what happens at the end. So when I go to the very end, you'll see here, I have a fade on the end. So I do have a, it's not working. It's not, I can take it off. Why don't I take it off? Okay. I had a fade at the end to naturally make it go away, but I removed it. And so watch what happens when my voice ends. Louder. Okay, so as soon as I stop, you should notice the music just gradually get louder to full sound. And that's why I cut it, because it's drastic. I don't want it to end so drastic, so that's why I put the fade on the end. And by the way, you can transition, right click, and apply a ending transition on audio, and that'll work similar to a regular fade. So this is a fade right here, and I could increase this basically. And now when the audio plays, you can see by the waveform when you look at a audio clip if you applied a transition. So if I zoom in here, let me zoom in here so you can see it. So I just applied a transition like I would apply for any other video clip by going to, I added an ending transition, and I can control how long it is. So you see here the audio clip, the waveform. When you apply, when you apply a transition, if I bring it way out here, that's kind of long, but you can see here by the waveform that it's just going, it's gradually going down. So what I typically do is I add a audio action, and the audio action just gives me a more fine control. I add the action, and I basically just turn down the volume to 0, and or very low, and I just drag this out to where I want the action to start. It's just a little easier for me. You can see here, wherever I apply this action, the waveform is just going to go to 0, because that's what I have it set at. So when I get to the end, and the reason I'm ending it kind of quickly is because if you look at my timeline, I'm at the 3-minute mark, and my videos are typically 3 minutes or less. So when I'm at that 3-minute mark, I end it. What do we have? Any questions? Anything that anything anybody wants me to cover? Anything you're not sure about? Anything that you're stuck on, that you're need help with, that you want a little any tutorial requests, anything that you want me to cover in the future, anything that is you're working on that you're not sure about or that you need help with. Leave a comment anytime. You can always leave a comment on a video if there's something that you want me to cover, or you can go to my website and leave a contact form if you ever need, or just have a question or just have something on your mind that you want to share. By all means, I am always open to people reaching out and letting me know what's up. So I think tonight we will call this one. We're right about at the hour mark. So that was kind of my goal, is to be done by 10 Eastern time, which is my time. And hopefully it turned out to be kind of a random Screenflow tip session. But hopefully for those who do watch Screenflow or that are actively learning Screenflow, that maybe I shared some little nugget that you weren't aware of, or that you forgot about, which happens to me all the time. So yeah, I appreciate everybody. For whoever watched live, thank you so much. And whoever is watching on the replay, thank you. Leave comments, questions, all that stuff. Every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. Next Monday is a question mark. I may be out of town or maybe not here, but I will always try to leave something in the community tab. I was a little late to it today because, again, at the start of this, I said that I was iffy to whether I could get through due to a project, but I wanted to get on. So, yeah, I will always keep posted in the community tab, and I thank everybody. Hope everybody has a fantastic week, and I was going to leave a little bit of music, but thank you all. We will see you. Peace.